What's up, everybody? Welcome back. This episode features Alex Schild. Alex is a pro MMA fighter, a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu black belt, a well-established wrestler, and one of the founders of Bang Tao Muay Thai MMA, a gym that is in Bang Tao, of course, in Phuket, Thailand. Alex is someone I've hung out with a fair bit while I've been over there. We've done a few interviews and filmed a bit of stuff, took some photos, and I've had the pleasure of hanging out with him quite a bit. He's a really cool guy, very smart, very good at business, very good life skills and understanding and perspective on life, and good take on so much stuff. Really knowledgeable guy, and obviously a very well-established veteran of combat sports, and is now one of the head coaches and is the head Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu coach. We chat all things about what it's like to live in Thailand, moving there as a Westerner, founding the gym. Also, Alex's time studying and growing up, becoming a young adult in China, of all places, and the differences between the Eastern and Western worlds. There's a lot of hidden gems in this episode, and it was a really good chat. Been a long time coming, and I look forward to sort of chatting with Alex a bit more over a few more trips back and forth to Phuket. So, without further ado, please enjoy the episode. Right, we're live. Oh, shit.
It's a good start.
Fuck yeah.
Yeah.
Now we're live. Thanks for jumping on, man. This is not going to work.
The headphones?
No. Thanks for jumping on, man.
Yeah, fuck yeah.
I guess, we covered a heap of stuff because I've been here for, the last week, but it's been sick hanging out here and hearing some of the story about, how everything sort of started with you guys and, what it's grown to now. It's pretty crazy. But dialing back, I guess, what made you want to move to Thailand? Sports, obviously. So was it purely Muay Thai?
Maybe you want to move to Thailand. I was finishing my last semester of university, or in the US, college.
Yep.
It's my fourth year, and I finished my last semester in China, of all places. It was just super random.
What were you studying?
Communications, and a minor in business management with an emphasis on sports. So
yep.
It's kind of random, actually. Side note, most people, well, not most people, just a lot of people go to school and don't usually work in the field that they got their degree in.
Yeah, true.
I happen to do mine in something very generic, which is communications. And then when I did this study abroad program in China, it was a specialty in intercultural communication. So actually I graduated with a degree in intercultural communication and a minor in sports management.
Yeah, wow.
Which is pretty much my life.
Yeah, true.
Which is pretty wild. And so I finished up school there. It was just a cool opportunity. And I was already a blue belt at that point. I had wrestled since I was a kid. I knew I wanted to fight MMA one day, but I knew that fighting MMA during school was tough. I saw the guys that were doing it. I saw guys that dropped out of school. It was really tough. So I was like, all right, I'm going to train for a few years, get a lot of experience under my belt in jiu-jitsu, training, and then I knew I wanted to fight MMA one day. And just as it happened, I was finished my school in China. I was like, all right, I finished school, I graduated. It was December of 2011, and I was like, man, I want to go to Thailand. And there was a few guys in that program, Americans that were in that program in China, that were like, yeah, let's go to Thailand and travel and party and backpack and full moon party and the whole thing. Yeah, they wanted to do it. So I was like, we planned this trip where we'd be traveling around for a few weeks, party, just do the whole thing. And I already booked, my plan was to come train for a month in Thailand. And my goal was jump in the deep end and train and fight Muay Thai to get some striking experience to later fight MMA. That was my goals. That was the goal. And the plan was to stay 1 month. And now it's been almost 12 years. And now we have the gym. So
that's crazy. Yeah. What made you decide to transition from wrestling into jiu-jitsu, or were you still doing both, or how'd that sort of play?
I grew up wrestling since I was a kid.
Yep.
Pretty, decent high school wrestler in my area, and probably could have pursued going to some small college. It was definitely not D1 or anything like that. It was, I was a good wrestler. It wasn't nothing like that. But so I'd seen kids that had they were a little older than me that went to some schools and wrestled at D3 schools, and it just, from my perspective of it, it was just an insane amount of dedication and work to, you know, especially at that point. If you look at, like, I graduated high school in 2007.
Yeah.
At that point, MMA was nowhere near what it is today.
Yeah, no way.
It was just coming, like, on TV. You know,
Yeah.
like, it wasn't even.
And
it still
wasn't
ESPN.
even,
Oh,
yeah,
bro.
it was still like soccer kicks and like.
Yeah, there wasn't soccer
it was
kicks.
probably
at that
a
point,
bit
but
later.
Yeah, it was still this
like
very early
raw.
generation. Yeah.
Yeah.
And you know, if you look at, like, wrestling,
Yeah.
the path after wrestling back then was, you know, good college career, and then maybe try to be on the Olympics.
Yep.
And then there's everybody else, which
Yeah.
becomes high school coaches or something like that. You know, there wasn't really too much of, like, a path outside of wrestling, which even wrestling as a sport, as an adult, is not, like, a thing. And MMA really changed that. And so, yeah, especially, back then and especially at that time, like, following, you know, between, like, 2004 and 2007, a lot of the people that were doing well in MMA and the UFC were wrestlers.
Yeah.
A lot of these college wrestlers. So I could always see myself in them.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I was like, wow, like, they're wrestlers. I'm a wrestler, you know, and wrestling, whether you call it a martial art or not, it's combat. It's unarmed combat. It's unarmed combat.
It is, yeah.
It's and so, and also being, like, a smaller guy, you know, when I was in high school, I wrestled in pounds. I wrestled 103, 112, 119, 119.
Yeah.
And in kilos, that's
60.
48 to, like, 52. Yeah, it's very small. I mean, I fought MMA at 57, which is 125 pounds.
Yeah, right.
So it was like 52, I guess, something like that. But wrestling did give me a lot of confidence. Wrestling in my life gave me a ton of confidence. You know, I played every sport we were talking about before. I've kind of played. You grew up this kind of typical American lifestyle where, as a kid, like, tried American football, tried soccer, basketball, baseball. Yeah, you name it, I tried it. But I like all that stuff. I like playing different sports, but eventually too small for football, too small for basketball. And obviously wrestling, it was such a good way to divide at weight classes. Yeah. So it's size versus size. I always remember even, like, being a little kid, or, like, you know, a kid, and talking to my friends at school that didn't wrestle. They're like, how are you a wrestler? They thought wrestling was like the WWE or WWF back then.
Shit,
they thought it was, you were like some, you know, some big kind of, you know, meathead or something like that. Yeah. There's a lot of meatheads, but in wrestling, it made an even playing field because of the size.
Yeah.
So yeah, it gave me a lot of confidence as a kid. It gave me a ton of confidence, be able to wrestle and take people down. And I always had a lot of confidence in myself. Like, man, like, I'm pretty good at this. It's pretty cool. And I guess it's a bit of ego, you know, thinking, okay, like, I can do this. And then when I decided to just go to college and decided to not wrestle anymore, and I wanted to go party, and I went to a big school. I went to the University of Arizona. Yeah. It was like a very big party school, very big sports school, huge Division I football team, basketball team. It was amazing, good time. And the first year I was there, I was just doing it all, just partying and drinking and doing all that. And I was soft and big. You look at pictures from back then, like, yeah, you couldn't even compare it.
Yeah.
Even to, like, I look at pictures like my senior year of high school when I was wrestling. I was six-pack and shredded. And you look a year into college and I was pretty thick.
Chunky.
Yeah, it's pretty funny. I looked like shit back then.
Yeah.
So then I remember I was just walking. I always had interest in it. I always, like, saw myself in it. But, you know, going to college and all that. And I was just walking on campus one day, and, you know, sometimes they have, like, booths for, like, different things. And this gym in the area, like, you know, this big tough guy was like, man, come try it, you know. Yep. And they gave us, like, a free little coupon, and I convinced some of my friends. It's funny, the kids that my friends that I went to go do, like, the trial with, they played football and lacrosse in college, and so they were, like, strong guys. They were big guys, and they hated it. The first day, the first day we went, it was funny. I went in with my wrestling shoes on, and the coach was like, "You don't need those."
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
That's cool.
And the other guys, they hated it, like, straight away. The free trial, they didn't even go back again. You know, but as soon as I was on the mat, I was like, oh. I was like, wow. Epic, I was like, this is it. Yeah, this is it. And it's just like a kind of progression. Like, we kind of talked about, like, the other day of, like, just like how badass do I think I am? How tough do I think I am? And I was just like, all right, pretty decent at wrestling. I can take people down. All right. Mm-hmm. Can I choke them out now? All right. Now can I do that when it's a fight, when we can punch and kick and elbow? Yep. So
that's sick.
Yeah.
Fuck yeah.
Kind of like progression of, like, just, do I think I can do it? Do I think I'm tough? You know, that kind of stuff. Yeah,
it's it was like a additional sort of skill set to add to your sort of MMA.
Yeah, really just, I mean, like, just, and probably a lot of men, maybe women will say this too, but a lot of men would probably say like, man, like, am I badass? Do I think I'm badass?
Yeah.
Can I fight another man?
Yeah.
Like standing across from each other, can I fight this person?
Yeah. And win, yeah.
Yeah, and win, and just like the pursuit of that. And then, yeah, since then I always loved to, MMA now is like, it's become its own sport.
It has, yeah.
Mixed martial arts has become its own martial art. A lot of kids now, they don't train the separate martial arts.
No.
They train MMA. And that's fine. It doesn't mean that you can't be good. Everyone has a different path that they take.
Yeah.
Me, I like to split it up. I love to wrestle when I was a kid. I like to wrestle with wrestling shoes on and wrestle wrestling rules. I like to train in the gi. We were just talking about the gi. I like to train in the gi. I like to fight Muay Thai. I fought Muay Thai a few times.
Yeah.
I like to train no gi. For me, it's just that kind of pursuit of like the pursuit of martial arts or self-discovery or whatever it is. So
the thing with martial arts too is like it never ends. Like there's always progression, and it's not even just athletic or skill based. It's like mental as well.
It's wild.
Yeah, like it improves all forms of your life, I think. So you got to Thailand, and then did you pursue MMA specifically, or were you just here to sort of have a fat time and try and fight as well, sort of?
So I remember when I was still in China back then, and I was looking up gyms to go to, because now it's obvious. Now gyms, everybody knows different gyms. Anybody that trains all over the world, whether it's jiu-jitsu, Muay Thai, MMA, they know someone from their gym that has been to a gym in Thailand. Yeah. Because it's so popular. But at that time, it wasn't really popular at all. I remember when I was still in Arizona and I was training with the team back then, some people there was only 2 guys that I knew that had ever been to Thailand. But again, this is 2008, 9, 10. I never had, 2011, 12, something. Yeah. No, this was when I was in college. Yeah. 2008, 2009. But, Instagram wasn't really a thing. YouTube wasn't really a thing. These gyms weren't really a thing. And I knew that it was kind of possible. And it's funny enough, one of the guys that the first had ever done it, that actually we were white belts together, got our blue belts under Josh Inger together. And he had told me, I just went in this gym and I slept on the floor, and you sleep on the mats and you just train Muay Thai. And that's what I thought this experience was, Funny enough, that guy, Nick Brigel, he's at the gym now. Yep. He's at the gym now.
Oh, what now?
Yeah, he's at the gym now. He trains. He was trained in his morning.
Yeah, okay.
I've known him. We call him Buzzy Nick. Yeah. I've known him. We were white belts together. This is 14, 15 years ago now. Yep. I've known him, and he had done it as like a school program. They had like some exchange program where they had school, and then they had like you could do like a few weeks of like a activity, meditation, Thai cooking, and he did a Muay Thai thing. And anyway, so like, I was kind of looking up gyms because there wasn't really anything obvious. And I knew I wanted to fight Muay Thai because I was grappling background. And I was looking at a bunch of different gyms. I was thinking Chiang Mai, or then I was like Phuket. I was like, I could be on a tropical island. I could train, and that would be pretty sick. And then I was looking at 2 gyms. It was Rawai Muay Thai, which is not around anymore. It's actually in Khao Lak, I think.
Oh, okay.
And Tiger. And I came up on Tiger's website, and you look through, and they had a jiu-jitsu class. Yep. They had MMA. They had some wrestling. And I was like, whoa. I was like, all right, so I can go to this island. I can train Muay Thai because that's what I want to do, but I do love jiu-jitsu. I can go roll a little bit. And I remember talking to Josh Inger at that time because he was the guy that I knew. He was like the highest level guy. And back then, he was like a no-gi brown belt, This is very, very long time ago. He never even touched the gi yet. Yep. And I showed him who the black belt was at that time. And that guy was also from California. Josh was from California. Yep. So he had heard of the guy's name on the circuit before, and I think they competed as blue belt or something. So that was just enough. He's like, I kind of know who that is. So I was like, sweet. And I guess the original goal was just get in the whole mix. I planned the whole training, and let me get in some fights, and I'll see what I do. I guess my plan after that was I did buy a one-way ticket, and I came here with a backpack. Yep. I came here with like a backpacker's backpack. I left all my stuff actually in China because I was planning to go back to China and then maybe get a job and work there. And I was kind of getting into the jiu-jitsu in Shanghai and Beijing, and stuff was growing there as well. Funny enough, there's actually this English guy, Fred Greenall, and I, we actually ended up like making our own kind of gym. And I'll show you the pictures of it. The pictures are nuts. And that's still going today in Nanjing, the city we're in.
Yeah, wow.
But yeah, I came here with a backpack. I came here with like just a bunch of clothes, and I had a gi at the bottom and some training shorts.
That's sick.
And flip flops, and literally like everything I have started from a backpack, which is pretty crazy to think. So,
How did you find, like, because obviously here is the third world country, and it's like a massive contrast to how things are in the Western world.
Yeah.
How did you find adjusting to that?
yeah, I mean, compared to China, it was.
Yeah.
It doesn't even compare. Like it was. Yeah. So like I remember, I had been abroad a little bit before when I was like a teenager, but not really, and especially never lived abroad or spent any time abroad. When I went to China, and I spent a few months there, it was cool because it was such a cool experience. I was like, in this crazy country, and even China today is nowhere like it was in 2011. I mean, with the westernization and the food and the communication, it is like, I went back 4 or 5 years after I left, and it was night and day. I mean, you couldn't even compare it. So like the growth there has been just unreal. And so I was living there, and it was cool because I was like in a new country. I was in a new city. I was with a bunch of other Americans. We were just like, wow, this is nuts, you know? But I did not particularly enjoy, especially now in high tide, being in China. The food was not very good back then. And I'm not saying that Chinese food is bad. It's probably my lack of language skills and knowing where to go. But the overall food was not very good. The ability to get Western food was not very good. The Western kind of like comforts that you have were not very good. So that was like super, like that was America to China was super intense. So I remember when I flew to Thailand, I flew to Bangkok first, and I had a friend from high school. His name was Benji. And I owe him a lot. I owe him a ton, you know, like this guy Benji. He was living in Thailand already for a year. He was like an English teacher and coaching lacrosse. And so he picked us up from the airport, and all of a sudden, I don't know if you've ever been in China, and people say this a lot about China, but it is very dirty. And it is very cloudy and gray. It's not sunshine, you know, like it is very what, you know, the stereotype is for a reason. So flying to Thailand, flying blue skies everywhere. He takes me to his place. We go get lunch. The first dish we had was khao soi, which is like an amazing dish.
Delicious.
It's actually from Chiang Mai, and all of a sudden I had this like amazing meal. The sky was blue. People were friendly. The girls were beautiful. And I was like, whoa. I remember that, like the realization. I was like, whoa, like you can live abroad, but it doesn't have to be China.
Yeah.
You know, that sounds crazy.
Yeah.
But I was like, oh, but you can live at like somewhere like this.
Yep.
And so yeah, and again, even obviously there's been a lot of growth in Phuket and in Thailand in general with like westernization and everything. So the culture shock was definitely less than being in China because I was living in China for so long that when I came here it seemed normal.
Like a holiday,
Yeah, and the level of English in Phuket is very good. There's a lot of tourism here. So most Thai people do speak like a decent amount of English. Yeah, there is definitely very different culture here. Food and lifestyle and a lot of things, and it takes a long time to kind of learn and understand. And I still don't understand it. I've been here 12 years. I don't think I'll ever will. Yeah. There's a lot of these like unspoken things, body language, stuff that is very deep in their culture here. The biggest thing with that's like tough about living in a place like Thailand versus, let's say, a Thai person that moved to the West. Thailand is a very homogeneous culture. Everyone looks the same. They might have different ancestry from China or Malaysia or India. There's Indian influence here, but everyone generally looks the same. Similar. So, but on the other hand, if like you were Thai and you went to America, and after 5-10 years you became an American and you sounded American, if you walked into like a business meeting, you won't look any different. You know,
I know.
You wouldn't be any different because the room is full of so many different people. And of course, people, you know, there's racism everywhere, and you know, there's like everywhere. But here, I'm always gonna be the white guy. You know, I'm always gonna be the white guy here. I'll always be the foreigner. So yeah, even so.
Poor old dog. He's having a suck.
He'll be all right. Shall I let him in? Shall I let him in?
Yeah, you can leave him. Yeah. I'll fix this light anyway.
Come on.
Missing out, dude.
Yeah, cheers, fucking Rufio. Fucking kick over the light.
Come on, busy man.
A prick.
What a drink.
I think even like back to kind of like your original question of like culture shock. I think the longer I've been here, obviously, and the more I understand the culture, I'm able to understand it. So then it's okay.
It's a lot easier,
It just
yeah.
is what it is, you know. And where I used to get pissed off at a lot of things, you get like frustrated at a lot of stuff, and it's easy to get pissed off at some stuff because it is very different. But just obviously it takes a long time to understand. Like, okay, well, this isn't America. This isn't the West.
No.
There are things different. And like sometimes people will come here and it's strange to me, but like they'll get pissed off and upset at the people, you know, like start yelling at them, and it's like,
but they bring their Western ideals here. Like you can't do that, man.
100%.
It's not your country. Yeah.
And you see people get pissed off about the person not speaking English to them.
Yeah.
And you're like, dude, you're in Thailand.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're in their country.
That annoys me.
Yeah.
There was a dude in the cafe. I chipped a dude in the cafe this morning about it. It was being just overly rude to one of the ladies.
Yeah. And you know, I think traveling and living abroad does teach you patience.
Yeah,
it does.
because
man. You have to understand, like, this isn't my country. It really isn't, you know?
Yeah,
like,
I have no say.
Yeah, and, you know, after you live here a certain amount of time, I guess you'd like to have some type of say but making an effort to understand the culture. Like, I love Thai food. I think my Thai is pretty decent. I had a tutor in Thai, and that helps as well. That helps understand a lot as well. And I heard, like, I can't remember where I heard this before, but, like, language and culture are super intertwined. The way we speak is super intertwined with your culture.
Yeah, okay.
And if you don't understand that, which a lot of people don't really think about that, but if it can mean a lot. Like, for example, food culture is very big in Thailand.
Yep.
Yeah, and you probably agree on that, right?
Is, yeah,
food
100%.
culture is very big. And this is probably something that you would never know because you just don't speak Thai, you never understand. So the way a conversation goes, let's say in America, goes, you see your friend, hey, how you doing? Good. How was your day? Good. Whatever. Yeah. So in Thai, the way the conversation flows goes, hello, how are you? Have you eaten yet? This is the second question. This is the first question after how are you. It goes, Sawadee kap, sabai mai kap, how are you? Gin khao yang, have you eaten yet? It's something that you would probably never think about. And I bet a lot of even people who have lived here a long time that maybe don't speak Thai, never understood that. And so it's interesting how language really is really built into culture. Yeah. And so once you start to learn language, I think you start to understand the culture more.
Yep.
Gin khao yang. And so if I say that to any Thai person, they love it.
Yeah.
They absolutely love it. Especially people that don't know me. Like, I see some Thai person, and it's even like random people, like, Sawadee kap, gin khao yang, gin leo kap. And they just absolutely love it. And so, yeah, you'll start to see things like that, like how language influences culture. It's really interesting.
That's sick. Yeah, and that's like even like people, I think anywhere I've ever been overseas, like if you try and you make an effort, people are really receptive to that, 100%. And they like will give you their time and 100%. They'll look after you.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah. So exactly, like, because I decided to start learning a little bit of the language and I can order more food and say different things, you're let into the culture a little bit more. Yeah, they're a bit more open, and
you're not just some white guy.
I'm still some white guy. It's pretty funny, you know, like, okay, as long as I've been here, and I do, like, obviously Phuket, anyone that's been here, and especially around these gyms, there's a lot of fit guys with tattoos and, you know, and walk around in tank tops. And so even to this day, right, I don't, when I'm just going around and people that have never met me before, they would have no idea that I'm an owner of the big gym and that I've lived here for this long and that I've just, you know, been here for 12 years. But I'll still always be just that white guy, you know? But that's just par for the course, you know? Yeah,
true. I feel like it only improves over time, though. Like, I feel like...
No, but no matter what. Yeah. If I have a Thai kid and a Thai wife and I speak fluent Thai, I walk around, You're
still a white guy,
yeah. But if... you can't walk around in America and see an Asian person and be like, that's a foreigner. No, most likely they're American. Yeah. So here, regardless
Very different.
Yeah, I know people who have been here, have Thai passports, but that walk around, you're a foreigner.
Yeah. That's a neat...
It makes it hard. It does make it hard about living here. You always do feel like a foreigner. You'll always be like an outsider. It just is what it is.
Yeah. Very true. What you've had a few Muay Thai fights here. What are they like? Have you fought in like Bangkok and like the big...
No, I never fought in Bangkok. I do think fighting Muay Thai in Thailand is like some of the coolest experience I've ever had in my life. Yep. It is so wild. Like, you go to these stadiums, there's no weigh-ins. You're not making sure your opponent. you're going up. There's no commissions, you know?
Yeah.
A lot of times you get to the stadium, pretty much every time you get to the stadium, and also the warm-up areas, everyone's in the same area, all the teams.
Yeah.
You kind of see your opponent. All the Thai trainers know the other Thai trainers. So they know who the opponent is. They know all this stuff that you have no idea what's going on.
Yep.
And a lot of times the promoter will like come up to you or the trainers and they'll put you next to each other and they'll squeeze you. Yeah. Okay. And then that's it. Yeah, that's it. So it's such a wild experience. Yeah, there's no commissions. The hand wraps are nuts. Anyone who's listening or watching in the West, when you fight, it's very serious when you're, especially, let's just say wrapping hands.
Yeah.
Right? Usually, it obviously depends on the level.
You get supervised.
There's a commission washing. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. There's commission washing. They're signing off. You can't do casting. Casting means when you put tape over the gauze.
Pack it out, yeah.
Mate, if you see
Makes it fucking rock hard.
Dude, they're bricks. They're bricks.
Yeah.
If you see what they do to make a Muay Thai wrap, it's just nuts. This is one of my favorite. They have a few different methods. I've seen a lot of methods in my time.
Yep.
If you imagine this, if you take a piece of tape or a roll of tape and you roll it down a little bit and then you give it a spin and spin it until it gets hard, and then they just fold it over and then you stick that on and then they tape that on top. So so it's just so wild. And then you're there and you're like, they're like they do like the massage.
Yep.
The Thai massage with the liniment oil, and they're like rubbing you down, and it like burns, and like people are pushing your stomach, and you're like, what the fuck? And you're just like, you're thinking, you're like, how the fuck did I get here? How did I end up here? But then you see some like 10-year-old kid wrapping his own hands, and he's gonna go fight right now, you know?
Yep.
And then it's
just another day at the office for those.
Yeah, it's another day at the office, and I always like say to people, like, if you can get through that, like then you are start to go fight MMA, and it's clean, and there's a warm-up room, and there's weigh-ins, and there's, you know, like all this type of stuff. Like it makes all that stuff easier.
More sanction. Yeah, okay.
Yeah, so like, fighting Muay Thai in Thailand is just super wild, and I encourage anyone to do it. Mm-hmm. But it is very dangerous.
Yeah.
It gets real very fast, and these gyms do have like previously like. Anyone who says, "Oh, you want?" No, it's very classic. Thailand. Someone shows up for one day. They look strong. Hey, you want to fight? You know, like they'll just push you in a fight because they're making money. One thing that we're very careful about at Bang Tao, making sure that our people are taken care of.
Yeah,
I feel a great sense of responsibility when we send anybody to the stadiums. That's a Westerner, whether it's their first fight or their 10th fight or 15th fight. I have a very big sense of responsibility. So our trainers, the promoters there, they know us. We're not getting these crazy matchups because it could happen. I've seen it. Everyone thinks it's like fun and games because you went one day, you saw some dude that like you saw on the pads, like, man, I spar with that guy, I beat that guy, and then he wins and he knocked out some tuk-tuk driver. Then you go and ain't no tuk-tuk driver.
Nah.
There's some guy that maybe he's a little older, but he fought 300 times in Bangkok and he's out there for a paycheck and he might go down. He might try to knock you out and cut you open.
Yeah.
I just recently posted up this video on my Instagram.
I love that video, bro. It's so sick.
Yeah, and for me, it's so funny because all my friends have like seen this video. This is like an old video from 2015.
Yep.
And the video starts with like in the corner, and I just got cut, and I'm all bloody, and there's just like a million people talking, and I just in that moment I was able to
like
really
a liter of Vaseline on your fucking eye.
It's just absurd. No gloves, by the way. This is one thing in the comments people are starting to. If you haven't seen the video, go on my Instagram, go look it up. Yeah, and it's just so wild. People are talking and yelling, and you see in this moment, I start smiling in this video.
Yeah,
and just being able to be present. But I think about that fight, and I didn't talk about it in the video, but I remember after he had cut me. I mean, this is not abnormal in other fighting as well, but after he cut me, we clinch up. He starts digging his chin into my cut to open it up more.
Yeah, wow.
Yeah, you can see it, just digging his chin into the cut to open it up more, and it gets very serious very fast. And fighting in general is like that.
Yeah.
Anyone who's ever fought understands that. Any
100%.
level, but especially at the pro level when there's elbows and knees to the head, amateurs can get very serious, no doubt.
Yeah.
One of the worst knockouts I've ever seen was from one of my students fighting at an amateur tournament in Bangkok.
Yeah.
And it was very scary. And it was on a mat. It wasn't even in a cage. It was like a tournament style. And he was winning the fight, the whole entire fight, and then just slipped into a head kick. And because it was on the mat and there's no cage, he fell straight back. His head hit the hard floor. It was off the mat. Yeah, it was one of the. And so anyone that's ever fought knows that it can get real very fast.
Yeah.
But the Thai stadiums, it's a whole nother level because I mean I remember I've been cut in stadiums and you go back and everyone leaves the stadium and then there's some doctor there stitching you up. He's smoking a cigarette. He's got a glass of whiskey over there. He's like, "Hey, stop moving," and you're like, "Bro, like, you're digging something in my head," But it's so wild here. But I always encourage people to do it. I'm really proud that at the gym we have a lot of people fighting every single week. And
multiple times a week too.
Multiple times a week. Almost every day there's probably someone from Bangkok fighting.
Yeah.
And especially obviously people that are maybe had already gotten themselves at a little higher level into MMA. It's not really worth some of the risk because it's not worth the risk. I can tell you another story in a second, which I've actually never told anybody, so I don't know if I want to say it. But anyone who's like fighting at an amateur level and wants to get into MMA or pro and is already pro, I 100% recommend it because it's just such a wild experience. And if you can get through that, it does make the other experiences easier.
Yeah.
And I've had some wild experiences too. I mean, also talking about China, this is a whole other story too. Like I went and fought in China many times.
Yep.
So after that, back in the day, they don't really have it anymore. If you were living in Phuket and you needed to make money, you needed to live, you went and fought in China, whether it was kickboxing or it was MMA, and the money was very good at that time. Like, man, it was crazy. But if you look at this whole generation of time, this is how Israel Adesanya did it. Israel Adesanya, Brad Riddell, they went and gained so much experience fighting in China. Kickboxing, MMA, no one was really knowing it. People in China knew about it, but this is why people, when Izzy went to MMA, people are like, this kickboxer that got into MMA, no, he's had 10 professional, very serious fights that nobody knew about.
Which is an advantage.
Well, this is, obviously the team at City Kickboxing in Eugene and all these other people, they were really preparing them to get in. So, yeah, the original question, again, I went and rambled a bit, but what's it like to fight Muay Thai in Thailand? It's fucking insane. It's fucking nuts.
Yep.
But it's just all part of it. And if you could take it in, it's some of the best memories I've ever had.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah, it's nuts. And I even like touch on that a little bit, what people also don't understand. Maybe they do understand. I did put this in the caption of my fight. The fight that I was talking about, that this video is kind of going viral now. After I paid the trainers and I left, I got 2,500 baht.
Yeah.
That's about $75 US, give or take.
Yep.
We bought a bottle of whiskey and had some dinner and it was done. You know, so you ain't fighting for money in Thailand. It's not about the money. It's about experience, number one. And
it's a pure cultural thing too. Like Muay Thai is fucking 100%. Deeply entrenched, man.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah,
so
like ancient.
And I'm always glad I had those fights. And the Thais will look at you a little different. If you
respect.
100%. Yeah, if you fought Muay Thai, and they you fought Muay Thai, even if you're good or not, but just the willingness to get in there, the Thais will
give you a bit of respect. That's cool.
Give you a bit of respect.
Have you had MMA fights in Thailand?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I fought in Phuket, Full Metal Dojo 1. Yeah, that was actually my pro debut. It was a long time ago. And I fought in Bangkok as well, which is just amazing as well. That was such a cool opportunity. Bangkok is such a famous...
So like one of those Bangkok fight nights or whatever they are?
No, this was... Oh, I fought a few times, actually. No, this is another one. This is like Full Metal Dojo 3. Me and my buddy Emilio Uridia, he ended up going on fighting 1FC as well. Had a good career. Ali Matamed, who's at the gym, fought that night. Yeah, I had some good times. It was at like a night market, and then they had a cage in this club. It was really cool.
That's sick.
So yeah, and over the years too, like even since the time that I've been here, MMA was illegal in Thailand. Even when the first year I came, it was underground.
Yeah,
and, it was kind of illegal. It was, and
crazy.
So we were like here. This is part of kind of the success of us and our team. If people think that Bangtao is a year open, it's not. We've been here a year. It's open a year, but we've been in this MMA scene and really pushing it for a long time.
Wow.
So yeah, those are cool experiences as well.
What made you want to go and shift into, apart from age obviously, but like coaching and then how did that lead into wanting to pursue like business as a gym owner and make your own legacy basically? What was the driver behind that?
I actually was really fortunate to get coaching experience very early. In hindsight, a little bit too early, but you have the opportunity, you take it, you go. And I was actually just recently after I got my purple belt, a friend of mine had been coaching at a gym in Singapore, and especially back then, again, the level was much lower. It was a gym full of white belts. So a purple belt American wrestler could go coach.
Yep.
so I actually got it very early, and you know, even those early days when I was out here, the reason I was able to stay out here that long in the beginning was I actually was working in the office of Tiger. I got like this kind of office job.
Yeah, wow.
Which was very cool, and that was all of a sudden foot in the door, making a bit of money, get a meal plan, but you know, it's like all right, and it allowed me to train full time, which is super cool. Then all of a sudden, I get this job to go coach jiu-jitsu in Singapore. I was like, what the fuck? I'm going to get paid now to coach jiu-jitsu? And yeah, it was just such a cool opportunity. And I went over there and, yeah, just really threw in the deep end. And I knew I didn't want to stay in Singapore. So when I came back here, there was another jiu-jitsu coach, always in the morning at Tiger. Yep. The morning class was a black belt. The evening class had been a purple belt. Just historically, that's the way it was. So at that point, the jiu-jitsu coach back then, he just had to leave kind of suddenly. You know, on a Friday, he's like, guys, I got to leave on Monday, whatever it was. And they were like, Alex, hey, you were just coaching in Singapore. Can you cover the class until we figure it out? Because the other coaches were like, we're not coaching the night class, you know? And I was like, I'll do it. And super nervous and super like, oh my God, this is crazy. But yeah, I started doing it. And then after a few months, I guess there wasn't complaints. People liked my class. It was busy. And then I had my first pro fight, and I won by submission. And the next day, they called me and was like, hey, the job's yours. And I got the full-time job. And I've always had this, and I still have it even to this day, this feeling of like, fuck, I got to prove myself. I always have to prove myself. Yeah. Because especially in jiu-jitsu, yeah, people are going to roll with you. They're going to see if you know what you're talking about.
Yeah,
jiu-jitsu doesn't lie. The mats don't lie. You can say you're some belt or say this, you've done that, but if you roll with somebody and train with somebody, it doesn't matter. Yeah. Because they're gonna be like, this guy sucks. So I've always had this thing on my thing, like especially in the earlier days. Fuck, I'm gonna lose my job. I gotta fucking hustle. I gotta do, and that's probably true, right? I probably, you know, there was a lot of people that wanted my job back then, and we were going around, for sure, going around behind, sure, and we're coming in some old school black belts. Or seeing this young kid from America with a purple belt that's coaching, you know, like, and somehow I survived it and tried to improve and always try to make my classes better, and it's always made me want to be a better coach. So I even kind of like. I had coaching experience very early, and again, in hindsight, it definitely took away from my fighting career.
Yeah, because you spend so much time teaching others.
For sure, and not that people can't do it. There's a lot of people that have been successful in fighting and coaching at the same time because they need money. But I was very passionate about coaching. I always loved coaching, and it was my income. So I couldn't just stop coaching just for fighting. What was I going to do for money? Yeah, and. Yeah, so again, in hindsight, it definitely affected my ability as a fighter, which it is what it is. It's part of my journey and my path. And I coached for many years and was still fighting professionally and had some good fights and had some really good experience. Not the best fighter in the world, but I've always gone out there and tried to do my best and had some good wins and some losses. And all that for me is experience that makes me, I think that's why I can coach. 100%. I've been there and done that. And I know that, they do say you don't have to have fought to coach.
It helps, bud.
Oh, yeah.
Helps massively.
Oh, yeah. And what I try to, I can coach from my experience of things that did work well. But on the same hand, I can coach from the experiences that didn't work. Yeah. The mistakes I made. Winning a fight, then losing, then coming back to win, being on top in the mount, and can finish the fight, and I go for a fucking arm bar, and my feet get caught in the ropes. I was fighting in a ring. Yeah, and you get on your back, and all of a sudden the guy lifts you up, slams in your head, and you lose the fight, you know? So, all those moments, and they hurt, and, who wants to lose? You always want to win, but I try to take all of my experiences, the highs and the lows, and push that towards the people that I work with. And I think those are some of the advantages that make me as a coach say, man, I did this stupid move. I went for an arm bar from the mount. Yeah. I shouldn't have done that.
To save someone else the heartache.
Sure. And try to, experience is the best teacher. Yeah. Right? Whether you like it or not. And anyone who's ever fought, it takes a part of you. It's not like a basketball game. No. You lose a basketball game, you go drink some beers. You might be thinking about it, but no one cares. It doesn't matter. When you lose a fight, someone beat you in a fight, it's very hard. Yeah. And so I was already coaching for a long time, and fighting was never like paying my bills. It was, every time I fight, I get some money, but every time I fought, I was getting a few $1,000s here, and I'm getting a new tattoo, or I bought a new something, and it was never what was paying my bills. And then COVID happened, and that puts a lot of things in perspective.
Yeah.
All of a sudden, and again, everyone had a lot of situations that happened in COVID, but our salaries are cut 50%. Where's the money coming from? There's no fights. Fights are not happening. What am I going to do? And also, this is something I don't talk about too much. I've talked about it a little bit, but not too much, because I don't make excuses about anything. It's just what I went through.
Yeah.
My last 18 months of fighting, right before COVID, I had a lot of serious injuries.
Yeah, okay.
I had, without talking too much about the details of it, I had ACL surgery, came back, fought Muay Thai, broke my hand, cracked my rib, punctured my lung, had a collapsed lung, partially collapsed lung.
Fuck.
Yeah, and then 8 weeks later, I fought in Tokyo, broke my nose, broke my foot. It was just, and then obviously all the other stuff that's happening in training.
Compounding,
right?
yeah.
Yeah, and getting older and getting into my 30s, and it was just like, man, like, all right, what are we doing? We don't know how long this pandemic is gonna last. There's no end in sight. There's no end in sight. This is 2020, right? So if you think about it, the whole world was kind of shut till 2021, and even especially Thailand was closed until we didn't open up until May 2022. The borders here. So we're talking about 2020, and it's very hard for everybody. But it was like, all right, man, like, can't do this.
Yeah.
What are we gonna do? What are we gonna wait for the gym to open back up, for Tiger to open back up, and then get 100% of our not very good salary anyway, right? And we're getting older and older, and then where's the end? And I brought the boys together, George, Frank, and Woody, and we sat down, and it was like, guys, we've always talked about doing a gym, we've always dreamt about it, but we're always busy, and Tiger was busy, and there's never time to do it, and it takes a lot of work.
Shit, yeah.
And I came to the realization. I told them, I said, guys, either we're gonna open a gym or I'm gonna leave Thailand. I need to find an option somewhere else, go to America, just see what else is out there for me, because I can't keep living this life. I'm in my 30s. 30 is a big year. When I turn 30, I actually love turning 30, and I feel more
true to yourself.
No, I just feel just a lot of things. I think 30 is good, and but you do start to think about longevity.
You do.
We all lived out here in our 20s, and we're fighting and partying and all that, and we had a fucking sick time. But then you start to think like, all right, what am I going to do here? I don't have any money. Where am I going to be? And so it was either, let's start a gym, or I'm going to go somewhere else. And it just came to a crossroads, and we started. That first conversation was in September of 2020. So I guess this is 8 months into the pandemic.
Yeah.
No end in sight, and September of 2020, we didn't open up until April 2022.
Shit.
Yeah.
It's a lot of work. Well, you look at the gym for what it is now. Like, it's a pretty high end gym, man. It's a nice setup.
Yeah.
Like, Jesus. And prior to this actual site opening up, you were training at your house, at George's house, and you were still training fighters and shit too. Yeah,
it was crazy, man. So another thing that I've done in my life, I've also started jiu-jitsu tournaments called CM Sub Series, and that also came out of kind of necessity, because as I was in my younger years here, there was no like tournaments to compete in. I wanted to be competing in jiu-jitsu, and in Thailand there wasn't really any tournaments really. There was once a year. It used to be called the Bangkok Open, and then it was Copa de Bangkok, and it's a gi tournament. It happened once a year. Then there was like in-house tournaments or tournaments on the beach, but there wasn't like a real tournament here. So I decided to start doing jiu-jitsu tournaments, and ended up having 5 in 18 months. Anyways, because of that, I owned 80 square meters of mats. 80 square meters of puzzle piece mats.
Yep.
So what happened when the pandemic hit? Who's got mats? Who has mats? All around the world.
Where can we train? Yeah.
All around the world. It wasn't any different. All around the world. And I saw people in the West were like sneaking into their gyms and locking the doors and closing the lights. Tiger's open air gym. There's no hiding. You couldn't sneak around. So, from like day one when we went to lockdowns and that, I had 80 square meters of mats that were essentially unused.
Yeah.
Only used for 5 days for a tournament. They were stacked up at my house. So. We started putting out the mats, and we had put out the mats at my house before for like Sunday trainings, out there, smoke a joint, train in the sunlight. Yeah, it was good times, man. Yeah, we had some really good times just before COVID. And even on a side note is that I had all these mats and everyone knew I had mats. So I actually gave out a mats to a bunch of people in Phuket. And
That's sick.
I offered them to a bunch of people and they'll never forget it. They knew who they are. And so a few people had different setups at their house and I was very generous with my mats because I knew...
what they were worth at the time.
Yeah, it was crazy. Yeah. Oh, yeah. And so, we just set up mats and we trained... at first, we kind of had this big open area in my driveway. It was, I don't know how many pieces it was, maybe, I don't know, 6 meters by 7 meters or 8 meters by 8. It was fairly big in the driveway, but then the police came by because we were right on the main road. Not on the main road, but on the road of the neighborhood.
Yeah.
And they said, hey, because everyone was very scared of COVID, especially Thai people at that time. He said, hey, maybe you can go back there.
Yep.
And it's so funny. I'll show you some of the pictures. Because I had a backdrop, a banner for my jiu-jitsu tournaments for like where the podium was with my sponsor logos and everything. I never tore it down. It was just like built up in this frame in my house just to look cool, like in my driveway. Well, it fit perfectly. I'll show you pictures of it. I just turned it around and it covered in this outdoor open garage space. And all of a sudden nobody could see us. That was the big thing. But we had this like 4 meter by 3 meter. It was like 4 mats by 3 mats, barely. And then it was covered by like my tournament. I'll show you. It looks like it's crazy, man. We never stopped training. We started training every single day. And there was a few different lockdowns here. There were a few different generations of people that would train at the house. But it was a good group of people. And we really just like everyone's circle got small. And even during that summer, it must have been June or July, Peter Yan. So it was when Fight Island opened up, the UFC. Peter Yan got the opportunity to fight for the belt. And he won the belt against Jose Aldo in Abu Dhabi.
That was a good fight, that too.
It was an amazing fight. And he trained at my house for that.
That's awesome.
And partially. So he would come to my house and we would roll jiu-jitsu. I have some really cool footage of it. Cool footage of us training. He would come to my house, jiu-jitsu. He would go to Frank's house. They had a little, same setup, it was a teeny little space. Wrestle. He would go to John Boy's house, hit pads. He would go to... they would go there. It was really special times. It was really, really cool at that time. It was like myself, Frank Hickman, Rafael Fiziev, Peter Yan. And then there was all separate training group at my house too. Because obviously a lot of people wanted to train and they knew I had the space, but you can't fit 10, 12 people. And again, remember people were cracking on the numbers of people you could be around? Yeah. Like no more than 6. You remember that? Like, whatever the fuck it was.
Stupid. Yeah.
Yeah.
I do remember
but
that.
it was very serious here, especially here. It was very serious. And not only that, you just didn't have the space for it.
No.
And so we would break up these like little training schedules and try to get groups of 3, 4, 5 people around the same size and skill that can rotate in and train together. And so I would like schedule it through the day. And then I did have a few people that wanted PTs, and I said, okay, if you have 3 or 4 people that also want PTs around the same size, give me my PT rate. You guys all split it, and it was very cheap back then. All split it between the 4 of you, and I'll run you guys a little class.
Yep.
And some of those people still train with us at the gym. They followed us up.
That's sick. Yeah, people like Jada and that have been there forever. Like, that's crazy.
Yeah, to be fair. So there was 2 lockdowns. Jada was there from the second lockdown.
Oh, second one.
So she wasn't there from the first one. She does count. She's very much a part of our team. But the first was myself, obviously George Hickman. Frank was there every day. Woody was there every day. Actually, it was great. So I'll tell you a little bit about the schedule. This was from the first lockdown. So Woody was living with me at the time. And so every day, 8 a.m., Rufio, come here.
Let's get back outside.
So every day, actually 7:50 a.m., Frank wouldn't wake us up. He would just come in and start sweeping. I don't know if you've seen Frank. He's a sweeper. Yeah. He loves to sweep. He would sweep, and then we'd like put on the coffee. Then Woody would roll out of bed. And every morning, it was on Monday, Wednesday, Friday, I would do that. It was myself, Woody, Rafael Fiziev, and Frank, and he would put us through a little circuit. Woody would. A little, whatever it was, a little S&C workout.
Conditioning, yep.
Then after that, there was the 9 a.m. crew, and that was Casey O'Neill, Ad Earnshaw, and Big Sammy Cass.
Big ads.
Big ads. And so I don't know if there's a fourth one on that. So then, because those people need to train too. So then we would do our own little thing, and it was really cool. I'm getting an old phone of mine fixed because during the summer of 2020, I broke my phone and I lost a ton of stuff.
Yeah.
A ton of stuff. Right now I have some stuff on it, but I'll show you the stuff of us training even before then. It was really cool.
Yeah.
And so then Woody would train us 8 till 9, then 9 till 10. He would run the second session. And then in the afternoons, we would have at like 4 o'clock, we just kept it the same schedule.
Yep.
We would alternate between like MMA days and jiu-jitsu days, right? Mm-hmm. And it was myself, it was me, it was Top Noi, Loma, who's already in the UFC at that time.
Yeah.
JJ, Mel and Claudia left after a few months. And then we had like different cycles of someone that come through, like Peter Yan would be like, hey, we need to train, and then we train with Peter, and then our friend Emilio Urrutia was there, and he would pop in sometimes, and it was so funny. Like it started with like out in the driveway, then they told us we had to move it back. Then once it was kind of okay, we did two sections. We had the one section in the front that was like 4 meters by 3 meters.
Yep.
Then we opened up the one on the outside that was like a little bit bigger. And then we still needed more space because we were like sparring and wrestling this team. It was crazy. And then we on my porch, I had a little porch. I think I showed you this video already.
Yeah, you did. Yeah, you have. Yeah.
There's a video of me and JJ working out. Then we had 3 spaces, and there would be like one group here, 1.5 groups here, and then 2 groups out there.
Yep.
And we never stopped, and we never asked. No one ever paid us for. We had some privates that we were doing, but as for our team people, no one ever paid us anything.
No,
they never paid us anything. We just never stopped coaching. We coached Loma for UFC fights to get wins. Peter Yan obviously won the belt. Top Noi was fighting in Abu Dhabi then. He had some good wins. Casey O'Neill went and fought in Abu Dhabi, had a great win, which eventually got him to the UFC.
Yeah.
We just made do. I mean, you look back on it now and it's just so crazy. But man, I was in good shape. I was in really good shape. So the Monday, Wednesday, Friday in the morning, I would train with the Woody workout.
Yep.
And then my friend Alex Blinn, we really got into cycling a year before that. After having ACL surgery, we both got into cycling. And then Phuket, all of a sudden everyone's gone and the roads are like pretty empty. So Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday, him and I would wake up 7 in the morning, big cup of coffee, smoke a joint, and we would go ride for like 2-3 hours. Yeah, man. We would just ride, and we would ride down to Nihard and Promtep Cape and go up these big hills. And,
on a push bike?
Yeah. Push.
Yeah, wow.
That one right there.
Yeah, wow.
And we just got super into it. We actually rode our bicycles up Big Buddha.
That's a decent incline.
So you could,
and a long one too.
Oh, it was insane. Now we could do it again. We could probably do it in one, but now we had to stop a few times. But it was insane. But there was actually in Phuket there was a district lockdown. You couldn't leave the district.
Yeah.
So if you're in Chalong, you're in Chalong. So we used to go ride down to Nihar and all these other places. Even one day, the day before the lockdown, we rode up to the bridge. So people that don't know, Phuket is an island, but it's connected to mainland by a bridge. It's not that far. So we rode from here up to there and back, and it was 100 kilometers.
Yeah, that's a fair hike, gonna say.
I was in insane shape, man. I was just like cycling all the time. I was working out, and the whole time. Actually, once we got to September, I was planning the gym in between that.
That's crazy, bro. That's crazy. And then there was obviously like a whole heap of work going. And then, did you need to let him out, or is he all good? That's all good. That's all good. Right, we're back. Quick toilet break. Let the dog out. Where do we get to? Oh, yeah. So for a Western person to try and sort of organise like all of this sort of stuff to build a gym, explain that to me, because that sounds like it would be absolutely a nightmare.
And just I had no idea how to start a gym, right?
Yeah.
But I'd been in Thailand a long time, and I've always like to figure shit out.
Yep.
Yeah, I always like to figure shit out on my own, learn how to do things, and make something happen. So this is kind of my third business venture.
Yeah.
And the other two were, so the first one I ever did was called Sabai Gi. I was making gis and shorts and rash guards and shirts, and it came out of a necessity because there wasn't gis. There wasn't really, now what the Soy Tayet is and Fighter Street where Tiger is, there's a ton of fight shops everywhere. You can get most of the brands, you can get a bunch of stuff.
Yeah.
Back then, you couldn't get rash guards, you couldn't get shorts. It was only like the Tiger branded stuff, and I knew that people wanted to wear stuff other than the gym. So I started that, and I didn't know how to do that, but I have a notepad and I write down what do I think you need, and what do I think it's going to cost, and talked to some friends, got some advice, started doing that, and eventually the margins in that, the ability to keep manufacturing while I was making a Thai salary of like
Yeah.
15,000 baht, 20,000 baht, was like, I just didn't have any money to keep reinvesting. It was very difficult.
Yep.
And then I started CM Sub Series. I started the tournament, and same idea. I'd been here for a long time. I don't know how to do it, but I've been to a lot of tournaments. I've competed in a lot of tournaments. I've coached a lot of tournaments. I know what's involved. We make a list. What do I need? Mats, scorekeepers, whatever. And just try to get it done, and just literally make a big list. What do I think needs? And that list is always adding. How do I get it done? And I was always comfortable driving around, talking to people, figure stuff out. And I've always had friends that could help me translate with Thai people as well. So started like that. And same thing with the gym. Obviously, the biggest discussion when we were talking, I mean, there's a lot of, talking when the boys were out talking, but it was how. And the question was how, like, can we start a gym, and is there going to be backlash from Tiger, and can they put, stop to it and all this type of stuff. But the next day, I just had a ton of energy, like an insane amount of energy. And I still have a lot of energy. You probably see it. I'm pretty,
Definitely.
8 a.m., I finished 8 p.m. today. But I just started with making a list. And the first person I was going to talk to, his name is Chris McDonald. He's Irish, but he was an ex-fighter who lived up in this area, actually. He lived up in this Laguna area, which people that don't know Phuket is a very nice, the north end of Phuket is known as the wealthier area. There's a lot of locals, a lot of families, big business.
Yep.
He had lived up here, and he was a general manager of this big beach club and hotel called Dream Beach. Very nice place. And he was a bit older guy that he was an ex-pro fighter that would drive all the way down to Tiger for a long time to just go train with the boys because he still wanted to train. He wasn't fighting anymore, but he was work, and then he wanted to train. And we knew him for years. Everyone knows him. Everyone that's here knows him. And I always looked up to him because he was in fighting. It's very tough to make a living. Not any fighting, but then once you're done fighting, it's very tough to make a living. And so I always looked up to him because he was a pro fighter, and then he retired and had a successful career, had a beautiful family, wife and kids, nice car, nice place, was working up here. So I always looked up to him, and he was the first person I told. I called him. I said, hey, I want to talk to you. And I was nervous. I went up to his place, and I said, hey, we want to start a gym. And he knows all of us. And he gave me a ton of advice, put me in touch with lawyers. We really just was like a good brainstorming session. And then, again, we're just going home and making these lists. What does these would do? And same thing I did with my tournaments, or just like even like a house around here. You can look online for properties. But I've always had the attitude, just drive around and look.
That's what I did yesterday.
Exactly. Drive around and look, see what's there. And that's what I would do for my tournament. I would drive around and say, fuck, I think that could be a tournament. But people never believe me. People were like, that can't be a tournament. And I was like, I can. It was like, whatever. And and so then that's kind of how it started happening. I started to just have a list of all these things, and I would drive around the areas that we wanted to be in. Originally wanted to be in the South. We didn't want to leave the South. We felt that we really did a lot for the whole community. So like, how are we going to walk away from this? It was a very tough decision, And even that there was discussions about going to other islands, like Koh Samui, Koh Tao, these other places. But having no roots there, that would have been very, very difficult. And so man, just not even just like, okay, not only is like, there's obviously all like the Thai stuff and navigating all this, right? But also starting a very big business. These other businesses that I started, I can kind of do on my own. It was very low key. The tournament started getting a bit more serious because I started going to Central and doing contracts and sponsorship, and so I learned a ton from these. And but now I've got to like raise money, put together a business plan and forecasting, and all of it is just so rudimentary compared to like obviously what it turned out 100%. To be. But I had a very big belief in the gym, and it was just like step by step. What does it come down to? Location, logos. And just everything, and now it's what it is now. It's pretty massive, and it was, all of it is extremely tough, but I was just so passionate about it, and also this is the first time I was going out and trying to raise money, and if I was going to be borrowing money from investors, you better believe I was going to fuck this up, and my biggest thing that I wanted to do from the beginning, and I always said from the beginning, and I told the boys this as well, let's put people around us, and let's just say me specifically, because I was the one with the idea. I was the one asking people for money. Let me put a bunch of people around me so I can't fuck it up.
Yeah, that's the way with everything. Yeah.
I think I know a lot, and I think I've proven that. I think I've shown a lot of stuff, but there's a lot I don't know, and I do seek advice from a lot of people. I've had a lot of mentors in different 100%. Things, and doing it in Thailand is a whole other can of worms.
Yeah.
But luckily, like going back to what we were talking about before about culture, I understood the culture way more.
Yeah.
So a lot of the roadblocks or things that happen, I understood.
You knew how to navigate those.
Well,
to a point.
I know.
Yeah.
I know that I just don't know. Yeah. Because even after being here this long and doing this big business and look at it now and the scale of it, you think you know something, you try to do it that way, and then it comes back and it's like, it doesn't work. And that's part of it. You're like, I don't actually know. And again, putting a bunch of people around us that are very smart and like our ownership group is just phenomenal. Super, super happy with the investors that we have on board, helping us with so many different things from construction to obviously Alex Volkanovski. And, the ownership group is really, really good. And I'm super, super proud of it and super proud to work with those guys. And it's definitely a bunch of people that will not let us fuck this up.
Yeah.
And
and it's all a very broad, like I only know a handful of the owners, but like it's a broad skill set that team has essentially.
Well, so if you look at like a team, right? This kind of like dream team. This gets thrown around a lot, right?
Yeah.
But a team is people that add value in different aspects, right? You know, like whatever, you know, let's say like a traditional team, like soccer or football, whatever. Each position has a very specific role that makes the whole team work. And if you look at our team, let's just say the boys, me, George, Frank, and Woody. I've always done the jiu-jitsu. Frank's always done the wrestling. George is the MMA, and Woody's the fitness. I mean, not only are we good friends, but we really add value in
complement each other. Yeah.
Then you add Brad, who's a kickboxing, and you add these investors that has experience in construction and building brands and building businesses, and Alex Volkanovski, who's not only one of our closest friends, but he's pound for pound one of the best fighters of all time. Yeah. So our team is like, we were very, very proud of that everyone does bring a lot. And being in a big ownership group, there's a few others that are also silent as well.
Yeah.
It does sometimes make things kind of more difficult because you have to talk to so many people, but I would rather have it the way we have it, where it also makes things just so special. Everyone really plays like a role. You know, one of the first things when we had that first conversation about the gym, myself, George, Frank, and Woody, we don't want to lose friends.
Yeah.
You know, what's the biggest? Everyone talks about that. You don't do business with friends, or it can always end bad. And you don't want to. None of us said we don't want to lose friends. And I'm really proud of that. Like up until now, it's nearly 3 years since we started the conversations. We've had our times. We've all yelled at each other. We've all been whatever. Not agree with what each other said, but we've all maintained really good friendship. And if you see that now, you know, we have meetings today, you see all of us. We're all talking shit to each other. We're having fun. We go eat lunch. We're hanging out. I think it's because
it works.
I think it's because we have been friends this long and we've worked together this long. So these little things that'll kind of piss us off, like, we just know it's all right. That's George. That's Alex. Or that's you know.
And you can have your tiff and then leave it in the workplace.
Yeah, one of the things I'm super proud of, most proud of a lot of, is that like we're able to keep our friendships, and it also taught myself a lot. And I've grown like an insane amount as a man, as a friend, as a businessman, of all of it, right? As a coach, whatever. But it's taught me a lot of patience as well, because these other kind of businesses that I've done, they've all been just me, and so I can just do everything I want. And I'm really like proud of myself as well for being able to say, okay, this is bigger than me. I've always thought that. Yeah. I do have a big vision and a drive and like things the way they look, but I've also learned it doesn't always have to be the way that I want it. I want to give my opinion, and not everyone's going to move at the same pace as me. You know, there's a lot of stuff at the beginning where like, I was like ready to like every day. And you know, some of the guys were kind of dragging their feet a bit or a little bit hesitant, and I don't know. I don't even know what we were talking about anymore. But just trying to get that done in Thailand was just like extremely difficult. Yeah. Extremely stressful. I definitely got some more gray hairs out of it. But I'm definitely, it's, you know, my day every day is, I enjoy it so much. We're always building the business in different ways, whether it's new gear or new business development or whatever it is. But yeah, I'm pretty proud of it. Yeah.
I would be, man. Yeah. And like, it's less than 18 months old, maybe nearly 18 months old. Where
12 months old.
12 months old, yeah.
12
Was it,
yeah, 13 months.
13
sorry.
months.
We opened
so,
up, April.
Yeah, April.
13 months.
Yeah, so it's like basically a year old. Where it's at now, which is absolutely pumping. In my opinion, it's fucking pumping anyway after 12 months. Is that where you expected it to be, or did you expect it to be bigger, or like,
yeah,
did it exceed expectations?
It definitely has exceeded expectations.
Yeah.
However, I would have never started it. I would have never taken this risk. I would have never asked people for all this money if I didn't believe it would be successful.
Yeah, true.
Right? So I always had this belief it would be successful. If you ask anyone from day zero that was around me, that once they knew about it, anyone that started finding out about it, I told them this will be one of the best gyms in the world. I said that from before we even had the property, before it was, I guess we had the logo and stuff, but before it was construction, before any of it, before anyone knew, I told people this will be one of the best gyms in the world from the first day.
Yeah.
And so I always believed that. Now there's obviously a lot of stuff we built and planned during COVID, in the middle of it. And this is a place, Thailand and Phuket is very reliant on tourism. There was nobody here.
Yeah.
So we were just hoping that everything would open up. And originally I did want to actually open up like a pre-opening before the borders opened. Let's get our systems in order, get out the kind of kinks. And I kind of envisioned it being kind of empty for the first 3 or 4 months.
Yeah.
Actually in a notebook over there somewhere, I do actually have all my original projections. Yeah. And it was very, very modest. I was very conservative with what I thought we could do. And I also had to come up with like a valuation for the company, what I was gonna seek investment at, and those numbers were kind of just based off of, again, very rudimentary numbers. It was really basically what I thought our membership was per month based off of Tiger's membership.
Yep.
Plus what I thought they would spend at the gym, retail, whatever. No idea what yeah, and just kind of figuring that out. And we blew our numbers out of the water. And again, they were very conservative. I knew they would be bigger, but the projections that I had at 12 months, we beat that in 5 months. And it's just, there are many reasons for that.
Yeah.
One being that this grace period that I thought we'd open up and have a few months of the borders not being open. Mm-hmm. Our official open up for memberships was April 4th. Our grand opening was April 23rd. Thailand was still closed. Well, unless you did like a 2-week quarantine or had a work permit and vaccines and all that. Thailand opened up its borders May 1st, a week after. And so just
flooded in.
Well, just kind of like everything that, and also we were also coaching before then. George and I, since we never stopped. Yeah. Even once we came up here, we started coaching at George's house with the same puzzle piece mats and started coaching on that during construction. I'll probably show you videos. It's fucking crazy. And we got the Fuji mats on January 4th. And once we got the Fuji mats in, we invited everybody, because before that, it was only our people. But there was a lot of people who
Yeah.
So once the Fuji mats were down and the rest of the gym was still construction and the bathrooms were working, we had to wait till the bathrooms were working because we couldn't invite a bunch of people to train if we didn't have bathrooms. And once the bathrooms were finished, we said, yeah, everyone come train. And we started teaching a morning class and an afternoon sparring class, and then eventually I did add in the night class for free. Nobody. We didn't charge anybody. We didn't charge anybody. And I'll show you some pictures. It's nuts. I mean, we had like 20, 30 people come to our classes during the construction, and we didn't charge anybody. It's funny because we didn't want to charge people. We did want to just have pre-opening because we don't want to charge you money. And also, we didn't have our like gym license yet, so we couldn't really charge people. Yeah. So, but I think that's another reason that we had all the success right away is people saw that. They were like, these guys are coaching for free. We started coaching to the public January 4th or whatever, shortly after that.
Yep.
We didn't open up for 4.5 months till the end of April. So we coached 2-3 classes a day for free the whole time.
It's a smart business model though, man, like with the intention, with your intention of doing what you did.
Yeah.
It makes total sense.
Again, it's all just the way it worked out, but actually it was because we thought we'd open up in February. We thought we'd open up in March.
Yeah.
Then we wanted to push it until Volkanovski had just fought. I think it was Korean Zombie.
Yeah, it would have been, I think.
Yeah, and then we wanted him to be there for the grand opening, and Josh Hinger was there for the grand opening. So just the way timing worked out, like everything, like man, like everything from the beginning. And again, I wasn't always like this. I did make a big change in my life about my mentality and like success and just kind of everything in 2019. So it was pre-COVID, and I think it actually led up to COVID and led to my mindset was totally right.
Yep.
And everything that happened along the way or went wrong, it wasn't wrong. It just was part of what it was. We said, okay, we went through a lot of properties and wow, I wanted this so bad. My heart was set on it and it fell through, crushed. All right, what's next?
Yeah.
The gym was not about a property. The gym was not about this person, or the gym was about us and where we wanted to create it. And so like, there's also something I'm really proud of is along the way, it was like, this didn't work out. All right, I'm not going to sit around and mope for a week. It was the very next day. All right, what do we do?
Yep.
And really like, just help with everything and just the mentality of like trying to get it done. And it was no turning back for me. Like there was a lot of times we could have stopped. There was a lot of times throughout the whole process when it was very hard. It was like, this is not possible. It's not going to work, and we've already borrowed money. It was crazy. And it was really funny at that time too. We were watching a lot of this guy called, he's not as popular anymore. He was kind of like this motivational guy on Instagram called Charlie Rocket. And at that time, randomly, George had known him from Atlanta back in the day, but he had been like some old music producer that like represented 2 Chainz and done well in the music industry, but then changed his life and became this like motivational guy, Charlie Rocket. And his thing was, and I started watching him, and George started putting me on to him, and man, I was like, my mind was like changing like the whole time, and I was reading books and learning and meditating a lot, and he had this really good saying I really like. Well, there was 2 things, and Frank used to put on a story all the time, and Frank, because Frank would do it, then I would start thinking about it. It was from him. He had this thing called winning streak.
Yep.
Winning streak. What's your winning streak? I have a win every day. I can have a win every day. So I'm in this winning streak. Man, today I did this or I did this, accomplished this.
Yep.
Okay, the next day I accomplished, I'm on a winning streak. I'm on a winning streak, and you can make anything a winning streak. And it was really like, it was just such a simple thing.
Yep.
So it was winning streak that really heled a lot. We were on this winning streak. I have to say it to the boys.
Just like maintaining positivity.
100%. Yeah, 100%. And 100%. And momentum. Momentum is massive.
Yeah.
And one of the things when I started watching him a lot, I don't think he's kind of changed he's kind of pivoted a little bit now.
Yeah.
But one of the things he also said, which really resonated with me, which we just started saying over and over again, and he talks about like quantum physics, or he has some whole reason he talks about. Go watch him on the Logan Paul episode. He did an episode of Impulsive, and he talks a lot about it.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah. Go watch this actually. I forgot he was on that. It's already happened. Time just hasn't caught up.
Contextualize that for me.
It's already happened. Time just hasn't caught up. The gym is already finished. Time just hasn't caught up. Stick to the plan. Get it done. It's already done. It's already happened. Stick to the plan. Take the steps. And nothing happens without hard work. Nothing happens without hard work. Nothing happens without a plan.
Yep.
You can't do any of it without any of it, because or else it's just nothing, right? It's just a dream. And it's already happened. Time just hasn't caught up. And so as stressful as things were, me and George, man, it was during COVID again. There was a lot of people here. It was just us and our people, and we spent a lot of time together, and we'd be really stressed about something, and we would just, at least we would say it to him a lot. We would say it to each other, and I would say it to myself, it's already happened. Time just hasn't caught up. And so I'd already said, because if you think about what a business is, right? The business is, you think about the finished product.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. Now you have to see the steps. But I was so confident. I so believed in myself. It's already done. I just need to go through the steps and get there.
To get to there.
And so that really helped a ton. Yeah, it's already happened. Time just hasn't caught up. I've always loved that. And so like when you look at like the way the gym is now, like the layout of it, the coffee shop, all this, so we visualized that. We had that in our head for so long. And it's quite a trip to sit there now. Like this morning, I was sitting there.
Yeah.
After my PT, before the class, I was sitting there having my coffee, watching the training. We visualized that. We talked about that years ago.
Yeah. It's pretty special.
And now time has caught up. Yeah, it's pretty trippy. Yeah, it's cool. It's fun to think about. I haven't said that in a long time, but it's already happened. Time just hasn't caught up.
I like that. And that's realistically like how business works, and it's how like successful business works, and how goals are achieved. Yeah. You're like, that's where I want to get to. That's my vision.
The steps.
Yeah, I just got to put in the work.
Exactly.
It's the same thing.
Yeah,
that's
and
cool.
it's just kind of like a simple thing, but yeah, you think about it, and nothing happens without a plan and hard work.
Yeah.
Yeah. If you have hard work but you don't have a plan, it's nothing.
Yeah.
If you have a plan and no hard work, then that's also nothing.
Yeah.
So just have a plan and see it through, and the whole thing's a trip, bro.
It goes to show. It goes to show. What's next? Like, you want, obviously there's still some sections of this that you're expanding and everything like that. When you hit the limit of what that space can achieve, would you be like, do you think you'll try and open other gyms, or would you try and like refine this more? What do you think, like, for you personally?
Me personally, but I'd say with us, and I would say the boys probably agree as well, is franchising or other gyms is not exactly on our radar as of yet.
Yep.
Or if at all. I'm not saying that we wouldn't, but if at all, because what is Bang Tao? People that don't know, Bang Tao is actually Bang Tao Beach. We actually live here. So it is actually specific to a location. But regardless, it's the boys. It's us. It's the vibe.
Yeah.
It's the music.
And it is too.
Yeah, it's the beach style. It's the...
It's very,
Yeah.
It's not it doesn't feel to me,
Sure.
sorry to jump in, doesn't feel commercial to me.
Yeah.
It does, it's got like a,
Sure.
like what a gym should have, which is like a family.
Sure.
Like you've got, it is transient and
Sure, of course.
there is a commercial aspect to it, but you've got your regular fighters there
Sure.
that it's like a family.
But even new people that come in, people are always surprised. Like, we're like, we'll talk shit to people come in and we'll train with them. I roll with everybody. I try my best to roll with everybody. So it is very specific to us, right? So there could be one avenue in the future, but I think all of us, our goal is, okay, number one, how do we like refine this? Like you said, how do we make this better? Obviously, we're doing expansion. We want a big kids program. We want a boxing program. But there is a limit of space, right? You already seen the classes. Some of my during high season, 60 some people, 70 people. You don't really want a class of 100 people because that's not, you can't really manage that. 100 people, 200 people, that's not really feasible. That's not what we're looking for. So, how do we add more classes? We want to add more beginners classes. That's a really big thing. And our retail, I really believe our retail could be a separate, successful business on its own. I mean, I like all our stuff. Yeah, all our stuff is pretty cool.
That's sick, and,
I think our retail online, not only with just like the style of it as fight gear, people might like it. Obviously, we have a lot of fighters that associate with us, and in their network, they want to get what they're wearing. So
100%.
We really want to heavily invest. Right now, we're going to build up our online shop. We're working on that right now. That'll be launched hopefully in the next few months. That's the plan. And then a big thing that we want to do, which will be a big investment on the back end, we want to do like online university. Yeah. Bang Tao University, whatever you call it.
Yeah. You've got like the resources for that. It's just, there's a plethora of like people that can teach, man. It's crazy.
If you look at like, instructionals, okay, obviously it used to be DVDs and stuff like that. And then there started, like, one of the first people to ever do like online university was Marcelo Garcia.
Yeah.
Marcelo Garcia in action.
And his shit was good, man.
It's amazing. And if anyone who's like been training for a long time or jiu-jitsu, they know Marcelo Garcia in action.
Yeah.
And what he was able to do, I haven't been on it, but I guess he shows live classes, probably shows tutorials and instructions.
Yeah.
But that's Marcelo Garcia. He is one of the best of all time. So that's how he can charge a premium. Let's say the whatever is $20. Yeah. Because you get to see inside his gym. Yeah. And then another gym that does very well, that started as well, was Atos.
I was about to say Galvao, yeah.
Atos On Demand, or I think it's On Demand.
Yeah, it is Demand, yeah.
And again, Andre Galvao, the whole team, all those people there, one of the best competition teams of all time.
Man, yeah.
And so you can charge a premium for it. Yep. Now, so you have to have that type of strength. And then, okay, away from those universities, they have the instructionals, right? People are putting out the Gordon Ryans or the whoever it is are putting out instructionals very specific to their sport, right? And those are money makers. Look at Gordon; he talks about it. He makes
100%.
hundreds of thousands of dollars a month off instructionals. Yeah. Now those are very specific, and you can download the link. And BJJ Fanatics has done very well of bringing everything. What's it called? I can't think of the words on tip of my tongue. I'm thinking of. As a co-op, it's like a co-op almost. Yeah, whatever. And
but it's like they're like a broker for like all that
exactly.
content. Yeah.
And so you can go there, whatever. Nobody has what we have. No. And what we have, we can do it all. We can do inside live classes because we do have people come here that love the gym, then they go home and they don't have it, so they want to see what's going on in the classes. We can do instructionals, but we have jiu-jitsu, we have MMA, we have wrestling, we have fitness, we have kettlebells, we have real Muay Thai from Thailand.
Like true Muay Thai,
yoga. We have it all in one. So I firmly believe we have a better product than anyone else in the world in terms of martial arts and martial arts content, because these other gyms are very specific. Jiu-jitsu. Jiu-jitsu instructional are probably the most.
I feel like they definitely are.
It's the biggest in the world. Yeah,
I feel like
not many people are buying striking tutorials, or know, and it's not that they don't exist, but jiu-jitsu guys, people love that stuff.
Yeah,
but we'll offer this all under one roof, and nobody else. Name another gym that has that.
I don't know any.
Maybe like you could say like a Tiger could do something like that. Now they did try it years ago, never panned out, but they don't have what we have. They don't have the resources we have. They don't have the charismatic characters that we have. They obviously have a big following, but if you look at the people around us, our own individual networks are very big.
Yeah.
The fighters that are passing through, we can put up different instructionals. We can have Volka do an instructional. We can have when Izzy comes.
Izzy do it.
I mean, just everybody.
Josh, like this.
Yeah,
man.
It's really endless, and that we really want to do that, and obviously that we think that's good, but we also think it's good for our customers, like, because you've probably seen this too. People come here and not to be like, but it's life changing for some people.
Bro,
some people, it's life changing, and when they go home, it is hard because they're not around it anymore. There's obviously a lot of people.
That's me. Yeah.
There's a lot of people. There's just very positive energy every day. People are always working on something. Yeah. And
I love that. That's why I'm in the cafe fucking 12 hours a day.
I'm there all day long. Yeah, me too. I'm pretty. Yeah. Even though I'm there all day long, I just enjoy being around everybody and talking. But I think that's another really good service that we can add to people is like, okay, they love it, they love the instruction, they like the classes. And they go home and they can get on the subscription-based service and feel like they're there, see what's going on, and the people that have never been there, they subscribe. They get to see what it's really like in the inside, and then they come there. They've already seen. I want to private with Alex, or I want to private with this trainer. I want to private with whatever. So I think for us, the really big things. Because again, you can't scale a gym with 300 people in one class. You just can't.
No, it's impossible.
Yeah, you just wouldn't want it. Yeah, I mean, you don't really want to do a class with 300 people.
No, fuck that. No way.
And so it's how can we make Bang Tao, the location, the best, and what can we do outside of that?
Yeah. And the location does half the work for you. This is a beautiful part of Phuket.
So this was like my business plan, like where my pitch when I went around to talk to people. What I said to the boys, I said, listen, boys. Even if people don't like us, I think they do, but even if they don't like us, we are next to the beach.
Yeah.
We're next to the beach. And there was a lot of people, obviously Tiger had a very good reputation for so long, and people go there because it's Tiger. So people would just go anyway, even if they don't like the coaches or whatever. So even if you don't like us, they'll come train here because they can go to the beach.
100%.
And
you got like Bird Avenue, like there's beautiful food here. Like it's easy. It's not like super busy. Like
people ask always ask like, how are you so successful so fast? It's the whole thing. It's
an accumulation of things.
But facilities, I believe our branding.
Yep.
Obviously, the people that work with us, associate with us, and our own reputations individually.
Yeah.
Not only that, like people kind of forget that like we all did coach at Tiger around 10 years. So everyone that came through there trained with us. And so maybe not everyone liked us, but some people did like us.
Yeah.
And people want to train with their friends.
That's right.
And we believe so much in our product. We believe so much what we have. No other gym does this in Phuket. We have free class pass.
Yeah.
Go to any other gym in Phuket. I don't think they have any free class passes. And we tell everybody when they say, hey, where should we go? I'm very honest. I say, guys, go check it out. Go check out Top Team. Go check out Phuket Fight Club.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of other great gyms in Phuket. Phuket Grappling Academy. And there's a lot of other great gyms. And I always tell people, go see where you fit in.
Yeah,
because
100%.
You're paying a lot of money to come to these places. I'm not going to trick you.
No.
I'm not going to be like, buy this now, sign up now, and you're going to get, like, see what you think. See what you like. And I think that's very honest.
People respect that.
It's almost like a sales trick. And it kind of is, but it's very genuine.
Yeah.
I'm very serious. I tell people, guys, they say, hey, I've never been down to the fight street. Like, what do you think? I said, go check it out. If that's where you want to be and that's where you are, it's more than welcome. And go there. If you think this is the good environment, if you think come here.
Yeah, and that's what I think, like, where you guys are ahead of the game is, like, the money changing hands is the thing that happens on the side. Like, it's a necessity for business, but the actual relationships is, like, separate to that. Like, it's like it's like a really family-based gym. I love the place.
Sweet.
As you know, like, I'm looking to probably potentially move here. I don't like it that much. But I better go and pack my fucking bags, so I'm flying out tonight.
Of course. Appreciate it.
Man, that was really cool. Check out all these boys. I'll put all the links up for all of the Instagrams. I'll put Bang Tails link up. Anything else that you want to tell people?
That's it.
That's it. It's a pretty good story, bro.
Yeah, sweet. Cheers. Appreciate it.
Right. Thanks, man.